Okay, what I did on this one, since I wanted a blue background, and I don't know that I needed to do it, and I think on the next one, I'm just going to try not prepping it and see how it works out. But I did a coat of gesso, and I did a coat of phthalo blue Liquitex Basics, just the straight up paint. I didn't mix any pouring medium in it or anything. And what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to do an open cup.
A lot of this video is going to be a voiceover. This did not go well. My paints were too thin. They've been sitting out in my hot garage, and I thought they probably thickened up enough, and I was mistaken. So after fooling with it for a while, I decided to abandon the attempt. Got some bloom recipe paints that I had left over, and I went with those and did a swipe instead. So, you know, a lot of times when things go sideways and you're not getting what you want, you can adjust and still make it into something you like, either by just pouring over it like I did here, scraping and starting over. Sometimes you can even let them dry and either do a full pour over or a partial pour over, which I will show you the result of one of those at the end of this video. But you just keep at it till you get something you like. Better to waste a little more paint than waste your paint and your substrate, you know, the whole deal. And, you know, not salvage some of your time, but make your time worth it, I guess. So I do some swipes, and to be honest, I don't know, it was an off day for me. Even my swipes aren't as good as they normally are, and nothing was going quite right. But again, I sped a lot of this up and cut some out, so stick with me because the end piece I'm really happy with it. So there, I decide to swipe with, instead of wiping the palette knife off and starting over again, I decide to swipe with what's left on there, just to kind of see what happens, because I haven't really done that before. And it actually didn't turn out too bad. I wouldn't recommend doing it all the time. I'd say it would depend on what colors are on your palette knife and maybe one or two other things as well, but it did kind of create a blending in a couple areas that I thought was pretty cool, even though a lot of that gets covered up by the end. The whole thing I'm going for here is a tropical vibe. So I used cadmium orange. I used ultramarine blue. Ultimately, I was using phthalo blue at first. I used some of my dark waters. I used that yellow there is sunflower. In the first failed attempt, I used Golden's quinacridone nickel azo gold, but I didn't have any mixed up in bloom paints, so.
Playing for giggles because I had colors mixed up on there. I think I might try that up here too. My paints were obviously now too thin for what I wanted to do. So I pulled out some thicker leftover paints, and those were still in dark waters. What other colors were there? Dark waters, still the carnation pink and the cadmium orange. I believe it was ultramarine blue. And the yellow is sunflower, which is a primary elements by Colourarte. And these are all bloom mixes, and then I'm just using my regular Dutch pour mixed titanium white by Amsterdam for the swiping. And see if I can get it to give me a good swipe this other direction this time. And we'll see what I can do. Because I had no intention of doing a swipe, but apparently
So sometimes when it's not going right, you just have to change your plan for whatever reason it's not going right. Maybe your paint developed chunks in it. Your consistencies are off. You're having trouble with a particular method on a particular day. If you keep at it and try different things, when you just know one's not going to work, you can still come out with a piece you really like. Don't keep at it so much that it drives you crazy. But for me, it's less stress to keep at it a little longer than to just give up and have a piece I don't like. I feel better if I end up with a piece that I feel good about. While we're watching this, I'd really like to know, are you guys tired of the records, or do you like the records? I really like doing the records, but I know I like watching some types of pours better than I like watching others, and I'm more interested in some substrates than others. So drop me a comment. Let me know what you think about these records, and whether you'd like to see more of them, or whether you'd like to see me move on to something else. So here, I just do a few touch-ups. Actually, more than a few, and it will speed up here shortly again as well, while I get it adjusted to where I'm pretty happy with it. And looking at it from this far out overhead with all my lights blaring over it doesn't really do it justice, but when I do the close-up at the end after I resin, it comes pretty close. There is a lot of shimmer in this piece. I believe I was popping some bubbles there. I'm fiddling with the side, getting it to where I like it. And something happened to my close-up. I'm sorry, I don't know why the camera went out of focus there. To my close-up, I recorded a close-up wet, and I had to move my memory cards around and stuff, and I thought got everything.
I don't know
copied
what
over,
happened
but
to the
I
close-up
could not
on this
find that,
one.
so I waited until
I know I
resined
recorded it, but
finish this video for you.
I lost
so
the
I could
recording
get a
or
close-up
something.
in
I
there.
wish the light was a little better.
So
It's
the good news
overcast
is you
here.
get a close-up of the
In the
finished
mornings
product.
when we leave, it's not really very light out, so I didn't have a good light then either. But it does look like it's catching the shimmer. So this one was a pain in the booty to resin. It's a little harder to resin out in my garage this time of year because I don't have any kind of cooling in there, so the resin sets faster. And I think something got up in my box that I was covering this one with, because I had to pick stuff out of it and pick stuff out of it. And I wasn't sure that it wasn't too far set when I finished last night, or that I wouldn't pull it off and find more stuff embedded in it. But it looks like it's perfectly fine. While I'm showing you this, I'm going to show you the finished product of the one I did for my sister. I did do a video of this one, but I went back and poured over it again on this one side and did a swipe. The reason why is because when it dried, and I actually resin coated it, hoping that would cover it up, but it didn't. But on this one side, the flocking was so bad that it kind of had a stone washed effect. So I re-poured over that side and did some more swipes, and I was very happy with it. And then I put on the markers for the time, and then I resined it again. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think she'll like it. It will go well with her kitchen counters with the colors. They just don't have a clue. So there you go. We just have to put holes in this one and put the clock parts in it. I don't think I am going to put any markers on this one. I think it would detract, and I'm just going to go with hands. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Hit the notification bell if you'd like to be notified when my videos come out on Fridays. And I will catch you later.